Hello everyone. Today, we're going to delve into a topic that I believe is profoundly important for our financial well-being, particularly as we navigate our golden years, the psychology of money. This isn't just about spreadsheets and numbers, it's about the timeless lessons on wealth, greed, and true happiness. We'll explore the insights from Morgan Housel's excellent book, which suggests that in finance, how you behave often matters more than what you know. It's about understanding ourselves, our decisions, and how they truly impact our financial journey. Let me share two contrasting stories that beautifully illustrate this point. On one side, we have Ronald Reed, a janitor and gas station attendant from Vermont. He lived a modest life, saved consistently, bought blue-chip stocks, and waited decades. When he passed, he left behind an astounding $8 million net worth. On the other, Richard Fuscone, a Harvard MBA and Merrill Lynch executive, who lived in an 18,000-square-foot mansion with 2 elevators. Despite his impressive credentials, he went bankrupt in 2008 due to high leverage and, frankly, excessive greed. The profound lesson here, folks, is that investing is one of the few fields where an amateur with patience and common sense can massively outperform a top-tier professional. It's not about being the smartest, it's about making wise, consistent behavioral choices. We're often taught finance as if it's pure physics, governed by strict laws and formulas. We learn the equations, the models, the projections. But here's the reality: our money decisions aren't made in a vacuum of cold, hard math. They're often made at dinner tables, influenced by our pride, our egos, the advertising we see, and the deeply personal financial histories we carry. As Morgan Housel wisely puts it, doing well with money has a little to do with how smart you are and a lot to do with how you behave. This is about understanding our human nature and making it work for us, not against us, especially as we plan for a comfortable and secure retirement. Now, let's talk about the incredible power of compounding, often called the eighth wonder of the world. Take Warren Buffett, for instance. His net worth is staggering, but here's a mind-blowing fact: a vast majority of his wealth, over $81 billion of his $84.5 billion, was accumulated after his 65th birthday. This isn't just because he's a phenomenal investor, it's because his secret sauce is time. He started investing at age 10 and just kept going. Great results don't require tremendous force or complex strategies, they require perseverance and the patience to let time do its work. If compounding is the engine, then time, my friends, is the fuel that makes it roar, especially over the many years you've been investing. This concept, tails, you win, is another powerful insight for long-term investors. In finance, a small number of events, these tails, account for the majority of the outcomes. Think about Disney Forever, Snow White. That was a massive hit. There were hundreds of earlier, less successful cartoons. The Russell 3000 index, for example, has grown significantly over time, even though about 40% of the companies within it effectively failed. The takeaway here is crucial: you can be wrong a good portion of the time and still make a fortune. Don't let specific failures or temporary setbacks scare you out of the game. The real risk is exiting before that one tail event, that big win, has a chance to emerge. Stay invested, stay diversified, and give your portfolio the opportunity to hit those home runs. There's a critical difference between getting wealthy and staying wealthy. Getting wealthy often requires taking calculated risks, embracing optimism, and putting yourself out there. But staying wealthy? That's a whole different ballgame. It requires a measure of paranoia about potential pitfalls, a commitment to frugality even when you have more, and, perhaps most importantly, humility. For those of us who have accumulated a nest egg, the single most important word in finance becomes survival. It's about protecting what you've built, ensuring it lasts, and safeguarding your peace of mind for the long run. Here's a concept that resonates deeply: the seduction of never enough. Capitalism, while brilliant at generating wealth, is also incredibly effective at generating envy. If our expectations for what we need or deserve keep rising right alongside our income, we will, quite simply, never feel wealthy. We'll always be chasing the next thing, feeling like we're not quite there yet. The key lesson for all of us, especially as we appreciate what we've worked for, is to define what enough truly means for us. There's absolutely no reason to risk what you already have and truly need for something you don't possess and, frankly, don't truly need. Find contentment and security in what you've achieved. Let's explore the man in the car paradox. We've all had that thought: if I just had that fancy new car, people would think I'm cool, successful. But here's the reality: when you see someone driving a shiny new sports car, you're usually not thinking about how cool they are. You're probably ignoring them and imagining yourself in that car, aren't you? The truth is, no one is as impressed with your possessions as you are. You cannot buy true respect with horsepower or designer labels. Genuine respect, the kind that truly matters and lasts, comes from humility, kindness, and empathy. It's about the legacy you build through your character, not your stuff. This slide beautifully illustrates the difference between being rich and being wealthy. Being rich is often about current income, its visible consumption, money that's been spent on things others can see, like a fancy car or a big house. But wealth, true wealth, is what you don't see. It's income that hasn't been spent yet. It represents options, freedom, and hidden assets that provide security and flexibility. The critical takeaway here is simple but profound: spending money primarily to show people how much money you have is, ironically, the fastest way to have less money. Focus on building the unseen wealth that grants you real freedom, not just fleeting status. Let's simplify wealth building with this elegant equation: wealth equals your income minus your ego. Building genuine wealth has surprisingly little to do with the size of your paycheck or even the highest investment returns. It has far more to do with your savings rate. Your savings are essentially the gap between your income and your ego, the desires and pressures that make us spend. You can save more by simply spending less, and you can spend less if you desire less. We desire less when we care less about what others might think of us. And why do we save? We save to hedge against life's uncanny ability to surprise us. It provides that essential peace of mind, knowing you're prepared for the unexpected. This concept of room for error, or a margin of safety, is absolutely vital for any financial plan. The most important part of any plan is actually planning for your plan, not going exactly according to plan. Life and the markets are unpredictable. Here's a practical application. Housel's rule suggests assuming your future returns might be a third lower than the historic average. If you can still comfortably achieve your goals with that conservative assumption, then you have a healthy margin of safety. The key insight is that room for error is the only way to navigate a world governed by odds, not certainties. Avoid putting all your eggs in one basket. Build in that buffer for peace of mind. When it comes to financial decisions, we often strive to be rational, to make the mathematically perfect choice. But I argue that being reasonable is often far superior. Cold, purely rational thinking can be quite fragile. For instance, paying off a low-interest mortgage early might not be the most mathematically optimal use of your money, but if it helps you sleep soundly at night, reducing stress and anxiety, then it is, in fact, the superior strategy because you will stick with it. Don't aim to be a spreadsheet, folks. Aim to be a person who can consistently stick to a sensible strategy for the long run. Endurance and consistency will always beat fleeting optimization when it comes to your financial well-being. We're often drawn to the seduction of pessimism. Dire predictions of market crashes and economic crises often sound smart and insightful. Optimism, on the other hand, can sometimes sound like a naive sales pitch. This is due to an asymmetry. Progress happens slowly, often unnoticed, while destruction or crisis happens quickly and makes headline news. But true optimism isn't about ignoring problems, it's about believing that the odds of a good outcome are in your favor over time, even with inevitable setbacks along the way. As long-term investors, we've seen this play out many times. Maintaining that long-term, optimistic perspective is key to enduring market cycles and benefiting from the overall march of progress. Let's reframe how we view market volatility, those ups and downs that can sometimes cause worry. Many people view a market drop as a fine, a punishment for doing something wrong. They feel penalized and might be tempted to quit. But I encourage you to view volatility not as a fine, but as an admission fee for the privilege of high returns. Think of it as the cost of entry to a truly rewarding experience. If you view it as a necessary fee, you'll understand it's part of the deal and stick around to gain the immense value over time. If you view it as a fine, you'll likely feel punished and exit the market, missing out on the recovery and long-term growth. It's simply the price of admission to a successful investment journey. Finally, let's talk about the highest dividend money can offer: freedom. The ability to do what you want, when you want, for as long as you want. That is the greatest return on investment your money can provide. It's about having less ego and focusing on true wealth. It's about managing your finances for sleep at night comfort, not just chasing the highest returns. It's about increasing your time horizon, accepting that luck and risk are siblings, and prioritizing that precious freedom over mere status. Wealth, in its most profound sense, is the ability to wake up every morning and genuinely say, I can do whatever I want today. That's the ultimate goal we're all striving for.